you check the children? Show a little mess
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird,
I'm Robert Duell.
I'm Fuego here.
and we are here to do another patron-requested review. This is one from Scuba Steve, who is requesting a movie that I've been wanting us to review for over a year now.
You have. Shut up about it.
But this is a movie available on Shudder, and it is called Terrified, otherwise known as Atterados,
Yes.
because it's originally a Spanish film,
Yep, from down in Argentina.
and it is, frankly, the reason I wanted us to review this, and the reason I'm glad Scuba Steve requested it, is because this is probably one of the scariest movies I've seen in recent years.
Agreed.
And I'm talking about movies that actually made me scared. Someone that watches horror movies on a regular basis, watches the new ones, watches the independent ones. This is the first one that legitimately got under my skin, made me creeped out, gave me goosebumps at numerous times throughout the film. And I'm so glad that you guys finally got to experience it as well. But Terrified is fantastic. And the thing that I have to sing its praises about is I watched it again before this review because I was like, is it really as good as I remember? It scared me at all the same parts the second time around a year apart, or a year or more apart. I love this movie, and if you haven't watched it, you're seriously depriving yourself. In spite of the fact that it is totally subtitled, it is so deserving of a watch through. You guys are denying yourselves wonderful horror if you're skipping it.
Word.
Your thought, Robert?
My thoughts is, holy shit, this movie was awesome. Like, I couldn't get over some of these scenes in this movie. They were just so unnerving, and you just felt so bad for these characters and what they were going through. Especially the one scene in, like, a bathroom scene in particular. Like, oh my god, holy shit! I can't get over it. Like, that scene was just like, it blew my mind because I was not expecting that, honestly. And just the
He goes all the way to the neighbor to confront him.
Yeah, and this whole time, and then you realize what actually is going on. It's like, holy shit, dude. But no, overall thoughts. I wish I didn't sleep on this as long as I did. I'm glad I finally got around to watching it, and it actually did scare the crap out of me on numerous points. And I guarantee they're probably about the same points as what we all were, because we did kind of talk briefly about it off camera and whatnot. But no, I definitely one of the most scarier horror movies I've seen in at least the past 4 or 5 years.
It's legitimately, before you jump in, Fuego, it's legitimately one of the reasons that I go to point out the fact that I'm pissed that Shudder does not release their exclusives on Blu-ray.
Home release,
Sometimes they'll do a DVD of it, but they never do a Blu-ray release, and this is one that I 100% want in my collection.
I know, I would definitely own this as well too, and that actually kind of bums me out that they don't do a DVD or Blu-ray. It's
frustrating.
Agree, because of the fact that when I was trying to watch this, I was having like slow down streaming issues.
Really?
Well, I mean, just here and there. I have the occasional connection issue, and I was pissed when that was happening, and a Blu-ray would remedy that situation, obviously. Now, this is basically like The Conjuring by way of Argentina, and maybe even better in some ways than the first Conjuring. I mean, the second one I really, really love, so it's kind of neck and neck. But I mean, this movie, I always love seeing a impression of this sort of horror from a different area of the world. I really, really do. And I know how much more religious a lot of Spanish-speaking cultures are with the advent of Catholicism, and how much it has its imprint on society there and stuff like that. This movie is messed up, man, and I was unsettled more so than I can admit. And I do pride myself on the fact that I'm stone cold, nothing scares me anymore. But I definitely jumped at least a half dozen times in this movie, and not just from jump scares per se, just from just an uneasiness and just being like, oh, man.
One time in particular, I jumped just to get away from what was on screen. Yeah.
Catherine was putting her hands over her eyes, man.
She couldn't finish it, she said.
She couldn't do it, man. And that's not to build this up so immensely as like the scariest thing you'll ever see, but damn, was it
it will freak you out. It'll make you unnerving and everything. Like, you'll have the anxiety, which is that's what I want in my horror movies. And also, I want to have the anxiety with my characters and be like, I don't want to watch this, but I need to watch this.
Well, and I want to see tropes done originally.
Yeah.
Tropes I'm familiar with done originally. The thing under the bed in this movie That whole
was
scene
cool.
where the dude cannot fall asleep because something under the bed is just messes with him every night, and it shifts the bed, and he looks under it and he doesn't see it there, but it just moves on him, and then even though he looks away, we see that it's there, and he's folded up completely wrong. And,
Well,
like,
and then also when you got the video camera too and stuff like that,
he
was
just
really
stands there
great.
staring
Yeah,
at him.
yeah.
Goes into the wardrobe,
Yeah.
and right next to him, it's like, oh, it's just such good horror.
And guys, legit, as somebody who I have recurring nightmares still to this day. Like there are times where I will have the same nightmare in a night. Like I'll sleep for a couple hours, I'll wake up, I'll go back to sleep, think something is there, or feel some sort of horrible presence. I identified with that guy so much when I was watching those scenes of him. I was like, oh my god, I was just there like a week ago when I kept having that dream, and I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back to sleep, you know.
So yeah, story wise, it's amazing. I mean, overall, we all loved it. Story wise, it's about it's about a lot of things, but it starts off about a guy who he and his wife are trying to go to sleep, and they keep hearing a noise. Well, he keeps hearing a noise, and then what he finds out is that something is malevolent in his place.
She thinks she's hearing voices in the train.
Right, and he is sent to prison as a result of what happens, and then there's a couple people that show up trying to talk to him about what happened and get the full story. So he tells the story about his next door neighbor that is having weird things that's now carrying over into his place. And so it's basically a haunting of this little, 2 apartment sort of home things.
It's like a block in Buenos Aires, and there's like just a few homes that are all adjacent to each other where this presence has like it's
embedded
like,
itself.
Exactly, it's like an epicenter for that sort of evil. So.
But it's so frightening, and the images, and like there's a certain thing where something runs from the house towards a car that is always going to stick in my mind as one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
That made me think of like the ending with Colorado Space.
Okay, yeah,
that's what kind of reminded me of that
with the mangledness.
See, and I've seen it before, so I have a different sort of order of perspective on that, but I could totally see that.
Well, in correspondence with that particular character, there's a reaching out of a wall.
Oh, that
and
was
a
so
grabbing
cool.
and a snapping that happens.
That was great.
That was one of the scenes where I was just like, whoa!
Yeah.
Okay!
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
And then shit crawling just behind the character in frame, and you're just like, ah!
Yeah, and then also, I mean, you were pointing reference to it where he's like
looking through the window, and it keeps changing. All of a sudden, like right in there,
and then it's bam.
Like I legit, I'm watching on my phone and everything this morning. I was to get there and like hug my phone for a second.
That got me too.
Because
when I rewatched, I started it on my phone, and I did the same thing. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
That
was the one part that really, like, out of all of them, like, made me jump the most. And everything, our earlier scene, that was my more cringy, heartfelt, like, oh my god, this is our tone. Okay.
Not only that, but forgive me, but the opening scene sets such a tone where it doesn't, like, usually you'd see, without spoiling, you'd see thump, thump, and then cut to credits.
Yeah.
But this was, you see thump, thump, thump. He collapses, he reacts, like it spends minutes with him reacting to the horror of the situation
as opposed
before
to
it
just
cuts
showing
to black.
the bit.
Before just like one hit and then cutting to black like American movies would do.
Yeah, they
you know what I mean?
hammered home the emotional anguish of his character, and yet the anguish of the character that I was going to mention, and it's shown in some of the promotional materials. It's not that sort of scare like a jumpy, thumpy, like big, showy, whatever, but it's just a sombering, sad one where you walk into the kitchen and you see the kid sitting there. And
that's
in the promotional material, so I'm not like super spoiling stuff, but it is. I
forgot about that scene.
And the fact that the mother is literally catatonic.
And the milk spills.
She is catatonically crazy, and then putting him in the freezer and all that.
Yeah. But when the other kid knocks on the window, and they actually show.
Like, and the sound design of the cracking of the bones with the.
It's so good, dude.
Damn, man.
It's just such a, and all the way up to the last moment of the movie, where he's just like. Isn't he with you?
Yeah.
And then just the chair, you're like, ah!
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, they got me one more time. Like, I love.
But it's cool because you find out, like, okay, well, that actually what happened to the character.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
And so, I mean, honest to God, you guys, this is seriously
too,
one of my favorite horror movies of the last decade, let alone the last just couple of years, because I don't remember being scared like this and having it affect me as much as it did twice, 2 years apart. Like, literally, I watched it 2 years apart, and it affected me both times as much as it did the very first. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, because this has been on Shudder since 2018. So
Yeah.
it's been there for a
Yeah,
while.
this is
now.
definitely one I want to show Ash because she's a scaredy cat. So.
Well, this is one of the ones that was getting those articles sent out about people are not able to finish this horror
Leaving
movie, you know.
theaters or whatever, when
That
it was on
usually
the
is reserved
festival
for
circuit.
Netflix. You know, they usually use that for Veronica or other movies like that come out. There's always one movie every few months that gets so much hype. Like, people are getting sick watching this. This was one where it's like, people are too scared to finish this movie, where I watched it and I was like, I can see why. I can see why.
Especially with like the cultural aspect of, you know, the spirits and the ghosts and everything like
Oh, yeah.
that's terrifying for most people.
And Terrified lives up to its
Ah.
name.
Yeah.
Lives up to its name.
Yeah.
Guys, point is, we are signal boosting the hell out of this movie.
Mm.
It's been available on Shudder since 2018, and if you haven't watched it, you're just denying yourself. Yes, you have to read it because it is subtitled,
So
but it
what?
doesn't matter. It's
Work a little
so
harder.
goddamn good. You're just denying yourself fantastic horror by avoiding it. So go watch Terrified. It's got the dude with a face that's split in half, otherwise known as Atterados, if you want to
Yes,
search for the original
Atterados.
title. But thank you very much for requesting this one, Scuba Steve, right?
Gracias.
Scuba Steve?
I believe it was Scuba Steve.
Yes, I believe
Okay,
so.
yeah, I
Yes,
think
it
I
was
got
Scuba
that.
Steve. Scuba Steve,
Hope
we
I got it
actually
right.
really love this one, man.
Yeah, this one was awesome. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you want to become a patron, the link is in the description box. If you know of a movie like this that we just don't know about,
Porfa.
let us know, because, man, this and Beelzebub are two movies
That was another
are
one. I was
surprised.
extremely
I think
pleasantly
these
surprised.
are
Yeah.
that is such a fantastic double feature.
Indeed.
Beelzebub and Terrified. How
As far as
amazing is
Spanish
that?
language
As far as
horror, goddamn.
well, and Beelzebub's like half
It's
English
got-
too, so
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
say
yeah,
ease
too.
into it with Beelzebub and then go full scary with Terrified afterwards.
Yeah.
Like let's have Joe Bob do that. Do Beelzebub and
Season 3,
they're
Joe.
both on
Come
Shudder,
man.
so
You
they should
follow
be
me
able
on the
to.
That'd be
Twitters.
cool.
Man, that'd be
Oh,
great.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
go watch Terrified. Thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird,
I'm Robert Duell.
And gracias, Jaime. Fuego here.
and remember, stay scared.